Glorifying God in the dark times is very important. The reason that it's important is because it's one of the circumstances or contexts in which the true believer is able to fetch the most glory for the Lord. You say, well, how do we know that? Well, there's lots of examples of this, but a really good one is Job. We read Job, and we're seeing both sides. We're seeing what's happening with Job, and we're seeing what's taking place behind the scenes in heaven. Job wasn't seeing that. He was oblivious to what was happening. But what's taking place with Job? The Lord is setting Job as a trophy of grace on display in order to fetch himself glory. God initiates it. When Satan comes, have you noticed my servant Job? Draws attention to him. And of course the devil is saying, well, yeah, that's because you've blessed him so much and so on. And the Lord orders those circumstances in his divine providence, allowing catastrophic trial to descend all at once on Job. And what takes place? We're told that he falls down and worships. He worships the Lord. Naked I've come into this world, naked I'll leave. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Here, he did not sin with his mouth in the midst of a very dark time, darker than most of us have experienced, even those of us who've experienced a good bit of it. He got glory. Do you know what was happening in that moment? When Job fell down and worshipped the Lord, the whole heaven broke open in thunderous shouts of praise. Undoubtedly, as they are looking, as it were, over the banister of heaven at all these transactions that are taking place on earth, to see him worship in the midst of that, the glory that would have been brought to God in the heavens. So often what the Lord is doing with us in the dark place has absolutely nothing to do with us. It has to do with what the Lord is doing for his own glory, his own praise. And so glorifying him in the dark times is absolutely important. We glorify him by submission to him, by coming under his hand, by acquiescing to what he's ordering in our life. We glorify him in the exercise of faith, trusting his promises, believing in his faithfulness. We glorify him in the dark times by praising him there, not just praising him for the deliverance from trial and difficulty, but in the midst of trial. The Lord is always worthy of praise. He's always worthy of glory. And so even in our darkest moments, we have the opportunity to lift our feeble little voices and extol him and bless him and magnify him. Don't miss the opportunities to glorify him in the dark times. Should we glorify him when we don't feel like it? Should we praise him when we don't feel like it? Absolutely. As I said a moment ago, he's always worthy of praise. Our condition, our feelings, our circumstances, our frames of mind are utterly irrelevant in terms of God's glory. And, lo and behold, so often, though not always, we set out in faith to praise him when we don't feel like it. And we lift up our voices to talk to God about God and to tell him of all of the wonderful glory that belongs to him. And what takes place? So often our own hearts are warmed in the process. Those melting influences come, and we're set on fire afresh in love for the Lord. That's a wonderful blessing. It's a mercy that God gives to us, but whether he gives it to us or not, praise him still.